From WNDU-TV, this is 16 News Now.
For the first time since the War of 1812, the United States Capitol was violently stormed. But this time it wasn't by soldiers of a foreign nation. These were Americans, apparently inspired by a sitting United States president, to protest and overturn the results of the 2020 election. Good evening, I'm Terry McFadden. That's where we begin. The U.S. Capitol descended into chaos and violence today as hundreds of pro-Trump rioters swarmed the building. The Senate, the House, and Vice President Mike Pence were forced to evacuate to a secure location and pause a ceremonial event affirming that President-elect Joe Biden won the November election. This after rioters broke through the barricades at the Capitol building. During the madness, a woman who was among the many rioters in the Capitol building was shot and killed. Both the House and the Senate resumed certifying the electoral results this evening. NBC's Alice Barr reports now from Washington.
The nation's capital on lockdown tonight, under curfew, hours after the U.S. Capitol and democracy itself came under siege. One person was fatally shot in 3 hours of chaos after a mob of supporters of President Trump and his false claims about the election surrounded and then stormed the Capitol. The drama unfolded this afternoon as lawmakers had just begun the traditional process of counting electoral votes, confirming Joe Biden's victory as the next president. Vice President Mike Pence and members of the House and Senate forced to take cover as rioters rushed past heavily armed officers, in many cases virtually unchallenged. Some made their way into the well of the House and the Senate, defiantly standing their ground in a place where elected officials had been doing their work only minutes earlier. One lawmaker likened it to crashing the gate of the People's House. President-elect Biden had harsher words.
It's not protest. It's insurrection.
President Trump said little to defuse the powder keg, but after lawmakers returned to count the votes, Vice President Pence led several Republicans in condemning the mob.
To those who wreaked havoc in our Capitol today, you did not win.
They tried to disrupt our democracy. They failed.
An unforgettable day on Capitol Hill and a dark one in this nation's history. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And many lawmakers reacted to what happened on Capitol Hill today, including those who serve the Michiana area. Indiana Congresswoman Jackie Walorski sent out a tweet earlier today saying, quote, "Every American has the right to exercise their First Amendment rights, but violence and destruction are never the answer. Stop these attacks on our country now and keep the protests peaceful. Grateful to the U.S. Capitol Police for protecting everyone in our capital." Michigan Congressman Fred Upton tweeted out, "Horrified and shell-shocked by the violence of rioters trying to undo the constitutional transfer of power." Indiana U.S. Senator Todd Young, who was approached by protesters on Capitol Hill, tweeted out, "In America, we have a right to peacefully protest, but what has occurred today goes beyond against everything we stand for as a nation. This is not a peaceful protest. It is violence and it is reprehensible. This must stop." And Michigan Senator Gary Peters tweeted out, "Today's attacks on the Capitol are dangerous, unacceptable, and an attack on our democracy and must stop. All former lawmakers are safe and okay tonight." Notre Dame President Reverend John Jenkins also releasing a statement regarding what happened today, saying, quote, "Today's assault on Congress was unworthy of our democracy. We pray for the nation and call on everyone, regardless of political affiliation, to condemn unequivocally the disruption of institutions designed to serve the common good." There's no shortage of constitutional concerns with the electoral vote count that began on Capitol Hill today. While the Constitution requires Congress to receive and count the election results of individual states, today brought a challenge of the validity of the vote total submitted by Arizona.
It's a precedent that, in effect, says, well, next time, if there's a different legislature and a different candidate, we just flip that. Then you say, well, what's the point of having the election for president if when it gets to Washington, the vice president or a senator can simply change who the president's going to be?
Indiana Senator Todd Young today said voting to reject the election results of any state would be unconstitutional. Meanwhile, today, the results of the Georgia Senate runoffs mean a change in leadership in the Senate. NBC News projects Democrat Jon Ossoff has defeated Republican David Perdue in their Senate runoff race. His victory comes as fellow Democrat Raphael Warnock defeated Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler in Georgia's other runoff contest. The twin Democratic victories give the party control of the Senate and a major boost to the fortunes of President-elect Biden's cabinet nominees and legislative agenda. New York Senator Chuck Schumer will also become the next majority leader of the Senate. Well, another cloudy night here in Michiana with temperatures in the mid-30s. It does look like we're finally going to see some more sunshine soon. That's good. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Mike Hoffman joins us now from the Weather Lab. Mike?
Yeah, Terry, that would really be nice. Now, Saturday is looking like the best chance to see a fairly sunny day. We're just going partly sunny for that day, but still a fair amount of clouds tonight and during the day tomorrow. You can see it has fallen a couple more degrees in the last hour, 32 degrees from our Mishawaka Skyview camera from the St. Joseph Health System on the north side of Mishawaka there. And checking out the satellite radar combination, you can see lots of clouds, but you can see, if you look up at the sky, you can see some breaks in those clouds. Moon trying to come through there, but the snow off to the west is actually diving due south, so that is not coming our way. We are dry and we should stay that way both tonight and tomorrow. 32 degrees, like I said, lots of lower to middle 30s all around us. And as we head into tomorrow, my day planner showing upper 20s to start the day. See a fair amount of clouds, but I think we'll see a little bit of sunshine at times like today. Temperatures back into the middle 30s, so not quite as warm as today was. We'll be back with my 10-day forecast coming up in a little while.
Now to the latest coronavirus case numbers in our area. Indiana is confirming over 6,200 new coronavirus cases and 80 deaths. Michigan reporting over 4,300 new cases and 51 deaths. Taking a look at the county-by-county numbers in Michiana, St. Joe County passed the 25,000 case mark today, the first county in the area to do so. Over 180 new cases confirmed today in St. Joe County alone. Looking at the Indiana 7-day average for coronavirus cases, it's down from a month ago, standing today at 4,903. That number was 6,886 a month ago. Meanwhile, the 7-day daily deaths average, 55 right now, also down from a month ago when it was at 74. New developments out of Indiana. Governor Eric Holcomb announces more Hoosiers could receive a coronavirus vaccine in the coming days. Starting Friday, COVID-19 vaccines will be made available to Hoosiers age 80 and older. Beginning at 9 a.m. Friday, you'll be able to start registering online. Go to rshot.in.gov and enter your zip code to see a map of vaccination clinics. You can register yourself or an eligible person using their name and age. The person receiving a vaccination must bring a photo ID to their appointment, and vaccinations are free. State officials are asking for patience as they work around the clock to get more and more Hoosiers vaccinated.
We will have at least one vaccination clinic in every county in Indiana. We plan to expand this age group to those 70 and older, and then to those age 60 and up. The timing of that expansion will depend on whether we receive the roughly 78,000 doses we expect each week through the end of the month, as well as on the number of appointments that are made.
And for more information, visit our website, WNDU.com. Meanwhile, in Michigan, Governor Whitmer announced that the state will be entering a new phase in their vaccine rollout starting Monday, January 11th. Every county in the state may begin vaccinating Michiganders 65 years and older. Now, 152,000 COVID-19 vaccines have been administered so far, and state officials say as more vaccines become available, the goal is to use 90% of distributed vaccines within 7 days after they receive them.
The strategy we are announcing today is efficient, effective, and equitable, focusing on making vaccine available to those who have the highest level of risk, whether it be because of where they work or because of their age. It is important, however, for people to be patient. We simply do not have enough vaccine for everyone in these categories to get vaccinated all at once. And there are some places where we know there are still healthcare workers who need to be vaccinated.
And to find out where you can get vaccinated, head to michigan.gov/COVID vaccine. New at 11, a local high school student read 500 books in 2020 as part of her New Year's goal. And as our Monica Murphy explains now, she set another goal for 2021.
Well, you know, Eden Hartford is an exceptional young lady. Not only did she accomplish this goal, she's also a straight-A student and plays multiple musical instruments. Local high school student Eden Hartford read 500 books in 2020 as part of her New Year's resolution.
I had some criteria. All the books had to be at least 100 pages, and I couldn't repeat a book.
She kept track of her books on a Google document.
I read The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. I read the Percy Jackson series and all the series that follow up with that. I read Harry Potter.
Every day, Eden was determined to keep going.
But there was like that little voice in my head saying, "This is outrageous. Am I really going to do this? That's more than one book per day."
But she did it. She finished her 500th book at 11:49 a.m. on December 31st.
Also, without the St. Joe County Public Libraries or my former middle school librarian, it probably would have been a lot harder to find books, so I'm very thankful that they helped me.
Eden says she plans to read 501 books in 2021.
I just like being able to step out of like reality for a little bit and experiencing everything.
She says, bottom line, you can do anything you set your mind to.
It doesn't matter if you made the end goal because you at least tried. And I think that's the most important part of it.
A nice reminder as we start 2021. Reporting in South Bend, I'm Monica Murphy, 16 News Now.
Don't go anywhere. Plenty more straight ahead, including Mike's full forecast. We'll be right back.
You're watching WNDU-TV, 16 News Now.
New details about two people who were rescued from their car after being trapped for several hours near Dragoon Trail yesterday. St. Joe County police tell us the car likely drove into the ditch because of high speeds on a dirt road. Investigators say the car spent less than 24 hours in the ditch, and the man and woman inside said they were trapped until emergency crews could rescue them. Now, some hunters spotted the vehicle around 8:30 yesterday morning in the ditch near Hilltop Farms. Developing now, 2 Louisville police detectives connected to Breonna Taylor's death are fired, including the officer believed to have killed her. Taylor was shot and killed in her apartment in March as police executed a narcotics search warrant. An internal investigation found that the officer who sought the warrant, Detective Joshua Janes, lied about how he obtained some of the information used to secure it. He was not present during the raid. Janes was fired yesterday, along with Detective Miles Cosgrove. New developments tonight, a 20-year veteran and former Atlanta police chief will become Louisville's next police chief. Erica Shields will soon be taking over for interim chief Yvette Gentry. Gentry only agreed to take the job for a few months during tumultuous times and during the search for a new chief. Shields had been with the Atlanta Police Department for 25 years. She became chief in December of 2016 and became Atlanta's second female police chief.
As someone who has dedicated years of their soul to policing, I understand that there is much healing to do across the country and here in Louisville.
After a controversial fatal officer-involved shooting incident, Shields resigned from the Atlanta Police Department in June 2020. Don't go anywhere. Mike has a look at the forecast when we come back. Well, with the power outages we saw across Michigan over the weekend, you may have used a generator to power your home, but there's an urgent warning from first responders. Generators let off carbon monoxide gas. Clay Fire Territory got 3 calls last weekend from people suffering from carbon monoxide poisoning. Generators need at least to be 20 feet from your home. Carbon monoxide can't be seen or smelled, and poisoning can happen quickly.
The common symptoms are headache, nausea, and even chest pain. The bad thing is we have a pandemic going on where some of those symptoms are the same thing you're going to get with that. But again, they're also flu symptoms, and sometimes people mix them up with that.
It's important to always have a working carbon monoxide detector inside your home to prevent an accidental poisoning.
And right now the weather is pretty quiet, pretty tranquil out there. Not a lot going on. We do have a storm system in the upper atmosphere and at the surface as well that's going to be moving off to the northeast, and kind of a second one there that's going to move south of us again. As we head toward next week, things begin to change. By Wednesday, we have a weak system going to dive through, probably giving us a slight chance of snow, and then it looks like some colder air comes in. How cold, how much of the Arctic air is still very much in question, but there's very little doubt at this point that we at least start to turn colder and snowier as we head through at least the beginning of the second half of the month of January. So let's say after the 15th or 16th, that's when it's going to happen. Anytime you see the jet stream go up on the west coast, it's going to come down farther east, and that pattern could last a while. But the Arctic air is a long way to the north. These are mild temperatures for this time of the year over southern Canada. Those are very cold temperatures over northern Canada up toward the Arctic Circle, and of course that's the air that may eventually be tapped, but it's still a ways off. We'll be tracking that for you. 32 degrees out there right now. We've seen a few breaks in the clouds, allowing temperatures to go down a little bit. You can see on the big picture there, storm system just kind of sitting over the plains, but it's actually moving southward. The whole energy is, and you can kind of see the rotation there right at the end over northwestern Arkansas. And that whole system will stay to the south of us once again, as several storm systems have so far this year. 32 degrees from our WNDU Skyview camera overlooking downtown South Bend and 933 north. There's still snow on the ground, but no snow falling, and none in the forecast anytime real soon. High pressure on both sides of us going to dominate. You can see the storm system then diving across Arkansas as we head toward morning, and then going east across Mississippi, Alabama, eventually Georgia and into the Carolinas. But we just kind of sit there between the two areas of high pressure. This system, if you are traveling toward the mid-Atlantic states, you're going to see a little bit of snow in that western fringe of that. But it looks like it's probably going to stay south of the big cities in the northeast. For us, look at that. There's 7 a.m. Saturday, partly sunny skies for a change. That'll be kind of nice on Saturday. Here's my forecast then for tonight. Mostly cloudy, remaining cold, low temperature down to 28. 10-day forecast, still rather cold start tomorrow, otherwise mostly cloudy, peaks of sunshine, high of 36. On Friday then, just a bit colder to start, then clouds and some sunshine, and then partly sunny on Saturday, high 34. You can see that slight chance of snow Wednesday, better chances later in the week into Saturday with that colder air beginning to come in. We'll be back after this.
Well, here's some good news. The Puppy Bowl is going on as scheduled. Discovery says Puppy Bowl 17 will still premiere on Discovery Plus and Animal Planet February 7th. Team Rough and Team Fluff will face off in the 3-hour event with a kitty halftime show. Yes, kitty. 70 puppies from 22 different shelters will participate in the game, and all the animals featured are up for adoption. ESPN's Monday Night Football play-by-play announcer Steve Levy and Sports Center host Sage Steele will provide commentary and analysis. Rough assignment, is it?
Yeah, I guess so. Those plays didn't look planned, though.
No.
It's kind of random out there. Well, looking at our weather, we've been talking about this since late last week. The turn to colder, probably starting either late next week or next weekend. That's when we start to see a chance of snow. 16-day outlook shows that typically in this situation you have cold air coming in waves, and so you step down little by little as you head through time. So we'll see how that comes in and keep tracking it for you.
All right, Mike, thanks. That'll do it for 16 News Now at 11. We'll see you back here tomorrow night. Stay safe.